Hey everyone, I just wanted to quickly go through. I've gotten a lot of questions in the past few weeks from Mighty Sleepers parents. I still have my Mighty Sleepers course for free until the end of May. So if you want the Mighty Sleepers course for free, just go to mightysleepers.com and you can join. It's my way of giving back to all the parents that have done so much to encourage me in what I'm doing here and to help out in the midst of the coronavirus and everything that's going on. I have gotten a lot of questions, and I just wanted to really quickly run through a bunch of the specific questions that I've gotten. If you've asked a question, I haven't gotten back to you. It's been a little bit busy with coronavirus and everything, but I do have a little bit of time right now before my telemedicine visits for the day get started. And so I just wanted to spend some time going through these questions in rapid fire succession and getting you the information that you need. I don't think I'm quite in focus, so I'm just going to do this probably. Okay, that looks better, I think. You don't care about that, but I do. Okay, let me find my list. Okay, how do you sleep train babies who have difficult digestive systems like reflux, choking, and inability to bring up burps? In general, babies, actually, not in general, all babies should be flat on their back. There aren't any exceptions to the flat on the back rule. Even for babies that have reflux or that choke and gag a lot, flat on your back is best. The reason for that is because it protects the airway. If you think of a baby's, oh, I don't know if I have the things in here. Okay, this is okay. I don't want to spill. Trachea, esophagus. If you have, this is where the air goes in, this is where the food comes in. The trachea is on top of the esophagus. You can think of that because you know that your lungs are right here and your breathing is right here and everything like that. If you have milk coming back up the esophagus, it comes back up like this, and the baby brings it up into their mouth, choking and gagging on it. Then they either spit it out or it goes back down. It goes back down because gravity pulls it back down. It goes back down to the esophagus. They gulp on it, they swallow it, and it goes back down into the stomach. Now, if you put them at an incline, that just increases the chance that this food that comes up here to the mouth will then go towards the lungs. Same if, without spilling Mountain Dew drops on me, if you're sleeping on your tummy, then milk comes up, and then gravity either brings it out of the mouth or down into the trachea. So what you want to do is have your baby sleep so that their trachea is always flat on top and then their esophagus is below. This works whether or not baby has reflux or spitting or regurgitating. It is always best to keep baby flat on their back so that you have gravity working in your favor. Sorry for the terrible analogy, back in the recycling. For babies that are loud, like I hear a lot about loud babies, what I recommend in those cases is a noise machine so that you don't hear them making all of that noise. Because a lot of babies are gurgly and spitty and those sorts of things, totally normal, and you'll get through all of that. And sleep training can go on as normal despite the weird noises that they're making or feeling like they're frequently bringing stuff up. The vast majority of babies do not need acid suppression. I maybe put 1 or 2 babies per year on an acid suppressing medicine. Talk with your doctor and find out if that's the right choice for you, but for the vast majority, not necessary. Next question. What do you do if baby sleeps in your room still? Will I not wake him up when I have to come back in the room to go to bed myself? What time do you recommend babies going to bed? You can totally do sleep training when you're in the same room as baby. It's not a big deal at all. I have tons of parents that go through this. They keep their baby in their room till 6 months, to 9 months, till 12 months. What you do is you set the baby's bedtime when you want them to be bedtime. I'd say like between 7:30 and 9 p.m. is when you want to put baby down, and you do the sleep training just as I describe in Mighty Sleepers. And then after that, what you do is you leave the room like usual. When you're ready to go to bed, you just go in. It's, again, helpful to have a noise machine or something like there so that you creaking around and making noises and getting into bed and blah, blah, blah doesn't wake baby up, but it's totally fine, and babies sleep train just fine when they're still in the room with the parents. You don't have to wait until they go to their own room to sleep train them. How does Cry It Out work for twins that share a room? The amazing thing about twins and siblings is, And I have so many parents that I've talked with and personal experience with our 5 kids. They do not wake each other up. I do not get it at all. But I rarely hear that a crying baby woke up a sibling in another room, or even a twin in the same room. One twin can be melting down, and if the other twin is a good sleeper and sleeps all the way through, they just sleep right through it. Now, sometimes they'll wake up at the same time to feed or time thereabouts. And then what you can do for twins that share a room is try and feed them at the same time and put them back down in the same situation. They might fuss and cry again, but then they'll go back to sleep on their own. I don't see them keeping each other up. So I've worked with a lot of families that have twins and have never seen that it's a problem that one baby keeps waking the other baby up. Sometimes one baby will wake up, but usually the other baby continues to sleep or wakes up at the same time. You feed them, you put them both back down. Not a big deal. I have found my son sleeps better swaddled and with pressure on him. Should I be trying to break these habits first, or just do everything cold turkey? He sleeps way better with pressure on him, so I'm nervous. I totally get it. We have always been so nervous to get rid of swaddling too, and have tried to stretch it out for as long as you can. I think most babies should not be swaddled around 4 months, or when they're consistently able to roll over on their own. What you want is a baby that can roll over on his own, to be able to have their arms about them so that they can move their head and reposition themselves. Once babies start rolling over, it's fine to let babies roll over and stay sleeping on their tummy. You don't have to go in and turn them over. You don't have to try and duct tape them down so they can't roll over. You could just let them sleep on their tummy, but they do need their arms about them. We've done this 5 times in our house, and I've talked with many parents and have always wanted to keep the swaddling going. Never had a baby that had that much trouble after swaddling was discontinued. So once they reach around that 4-month mark, once they start rolling over consistently, just get rid of the swaddling, and you'll find that they're able to do it cold turkey, no problem. Some babies do there's some different weighted sleep sacks and things out there. You can certainly try those as well, but I would give him control of his arms once he's able to roll over. Okay, we did cry it out with our oldest, who is now 3, and that worked great. We are in the starter house still, and space is small. The boys will be sharing a room. Right now, baby sleeps in our room. He's going on 3 months, but looking ahead, how can we do the cry it out with them sharing a room? I know you said sound machines. We used one with our oldest, who now doesn't like it, but what does a routine like when they have to share and cry it out with a 4-month-old? Thank you. Okay, so when you have a older child and you want to do sleep training, whichever, cry it out or non-cry it out, whatever you want to do with the younger one, there's a couple things you could do. One is you can just try putting them in the same room together and see if that works, because that would be ideal if they could just do it on their own, sleep train with the baby, to have the toddler be in the room fast asleep, not bothered by it. I do think getting them back into the noise machine often helps. So if you can convince him of the value of the noise machine, that would be helpful for the toddler. The other options that you could have would be to put the new baby in the room and then have the toddler have a sleepover, in a sleeping bag in your room or something like that. So they kind of switch places. That tends to work well. And then once the baby is sleep trained and goes to sleep fine and is sleeping pretty well, then, after a couple nights of doing that, you can move the toddler from the sleeping bag back to the room and then have them share a room. I would avoid letting the toddler come and be in bed with you, because then you get into the habit of letting that happen all the time. And it's hard to break that habit. But a sleeping bag is fine. 3-year-olds don't care where they sleep, so they'll sleep on the floor, happy as a clam. And then you can move them back. That's how I would approach it, so that they can share a room and that you get sleep training done. What if they wake up and are crying, screaming when you change their diapers? Do you help settle them and lay them down before they're fully asleep? Yes, I always think that when you're going back in, if baby is awake, put baby down awake. And if you have to change their diaper and do that sort of thing. Most babies overnight, once they're sleep trained, you don't need to change their diaper overnight. You might want to double diaper them so that they don't leak through, but in general, you don't need to change their diapers while they're asleep at all. I would never wake a sleeping baby because they got a blue line on their diaper or whatever it is. Just let them sleep with their wet diaper. Okay, next question. Our baby gets herself to sleep fairly quickly, but will wake 20 minutes later, screaming and crying again for 20 minutes. We're on night 4, and the initial amount of time is decreasing a tiny bit, but the amount of waking back up seems to be increasing. Do we continue to let her cry it out? So in general, I don't know how old this baby is, but in general, there are some times where babies will wake up, 20, 30 minutes after falling asleep and then have another spell. And in general, if you know that they're well fed and that they didn't poop or something like that, then I would just let them keep going, because I see a lot of babies where they'll wake up for a little bit of a stretch 20 or 30 minutes later. There's no way that they're hungry again. I mean, they just ate and then went down to bed. Let them keep going. It might just be that they're working through their sleep cycles and getting things lined up. I would let them keep going. Just don't go in unless you think they pooped or something along those lines. If they're a baby that takes a binky, you might just go in quickly, put the binky in, and then quickly exit the room. Okay, this is the last question that I have. Our daughter is currently 10 weeks old and struggles to sleep unless being held. Is it too early to let her try the cried out method? Okay, 10 weeks old, I think is too early. I just don't see a lot of 10-week-olds doing very well with that. What you can do at 10 weeks of age or thereabouts before you're really around 4 months is about the earliest that you can do like a true cried out method to get them to sleep. Things that you can do with 10-week-olds is practice putting her down when she's asleep, and then gently waking her up. You brush her cheek, you twist her toes a little bit, nothing too aggressive. You don't want her to be fully awake and screaming at you for messing with her toes. But if you do it a little bit, then what you'll see is she'll wake up and then she'll doze back off, and she'll just start to get in the habit of waking up, being in her crib, and dozing back off on her own. And if you can get in that habit and have some success there, then once they're around 4 months of age, you can do the full sleep training, no problem, and things will go more smoothly. It is normal for 10-week-olds to need to be held or fed to sleep. Other things that you can do so that you can get a long stretch of sleep at that age is feed them, or cuddle them, or rock them to sleep while they're swaddled. So then you can take that swaddled baby and lay them down in a flat crib or bassinet or whatever and get a good night's rest, because then they've fallen asleep already swaddled. One thing that I find is a lot of babies, when you take them and you put them, they feed or are rocked to sleep, and then you lay them down to swaddle them back up. Then they wake up and they're wide awake, and you got to start it all over again. So just swaddle before you feed or before you hold and cuddle them off to sleep at that age, and then lay them down awake. And then if you're feeling really game for it and you've got plenty of sleep, just brush their cheek or do something slightly to wake them back up, so that then you can practice that getting to sleep on their own in their crib or bassinet. Okay, those are the questions that I have for now. If you would have other questions, please feel free to send them my way. Keep up the good work. And don't forget, if you haven't yet joined Mighty Sleepers and you want to for free, just join before the end of May. And if you have a friend or family member that hasn't joined yet, or is expecting, or isn't quite old enough yet, or is still struggling with sleep, send them my way too, mightysleepers.com. It's free, and I'm here for you guys. Keep up the good work.